switching gears here to the latest departure. And I promise you we're going to talk about some folks coming on board. But as far as guys leaving, Elias Rudolph, defensive end, originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, had a cup of coffee here at Deerfield Beach in South Florida, then went back, was committed to Michigan, to Jim Harbaugh and company, flipped to Miami, 4-star defensive end. And look, this is a talented player. I think he's all of 6'5", very, very fast. Was starting to put on some weight, but still was pretty lean. I can't say this was a surprise because when Miami looked at the roster before spring, and just big picture here, zooming out for a second, because we've done a few of these now with Horton, Nikar, Zaquan. These are talented players. These are guys that at different times have shown flashes for the program. These are 4-star players. I believe all 4 were 4-star recruits. So these are guys Miami is excited about, and they showed talent when they were on campus. In Zaquan's case, he played in games. The problem is this is the win now NIL era of college football. So all of these guys, these 4-star recruits, were significantly compensated right now. And in their minds, they want to play. I mean, why wouldn't they want to play right now? They know they can play somewhere right now. And from Miami's perspective, very expensive players who have yet to break through. So I think in this era of NIL, and we'll see what happens in the future with contracts, et cetera. But right now, with totally free movement with NIL, you're going to see much more of a win now attitude, which is, look, if you're not that guy heading into your sophomore year, in Josh Horton's case, your junior year, it's time to move on for both sides, because all these guys want to play and they don't want to sit on the bench, and no one wants to spend resources that are limited on guys that aren't going to play. So I think that's the reality, the idea of developing guys, and it's part of what makes college football great. It's a lot harder in this era. I think if you develop guys, are going to have to be guys that are going to be less expensive out of high school. Maybe they're not blue chippers out of high school. So there's a recalibration. We can discuss how that's going to go. But with Elias Rudolph, I think this is exactly the same boat as a Horton, Patterson, Carr. Different reasons for each of them, different stories behind each of them, but that's what's happening. With Rudolph specifically, you brought in Marquise Lightfoot, 5-star out of Chicago. You bring in 4-star Elias Rudolph. You bring in 4-star Booker Pickett from the Tampa Bay area. So you have 3 guys who are long, who need to gain weight, and who are pass rush first, right? That is, they're not the same exact player, but they're pretty much the same type of player. So you knew going into spring that there'd be a battle between those types of players. Marquise Lightfoot was not a lock to emerge from that group, right? They were pretty bunched together coming out of the season. But what we saw in spring, at least what I saw in spring, what I think you're seeing on the depth chart here, Marquise Lightfoot took a huge step forward to not only kind of separate from this group, at least right now, but I think separate as far as being a first-team player, being a second-team player who plays starter snaps, just really being an impact player on this defense. He's got to do it on the field, but that's where he's trending right now, which if you're signing 5-star guys, you want them to make that kind of leap going into year 2.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think with him, it's just physically just not ready yet, right? And like you said, behind a few guys, I think still has some ability. We're not saying this guy can't play the game, right? But if you're in his shoes, you want to see the field, and there's some guys in front of you right now, right? So I think it's not the right time for him right now, just because he's not, like I said, doesn't have that weight on just yet. And look, we had a lot of people in the comments yesterday talking about development and, guys aren't improving. Sometimes they need more time at the end of the day. And he's not ready yet. So I really think that, kind of similarly to some of these other spots, look, safety, you're going to need to bring in a guy. You're going to need to bring in a guy regardless. But with DN, I think it's a good sign that some of these other players really stepped up over spring, and makes you feel good about where this position's at, considering they didn't really bring anyone in from the portal.
I could see either Elias, Nikar, Horton, Patterson, and one or multiple of these guys are going to get it together, do what they need to do, and become NFL type players. It's just the reality of college football. And I think if our guys are where they need to be, I'm not worried about that. And I wish all these guys well, especially Rudolph, great kid talking to him, right? I mean, you just got to tip your hat if they